Hello, TSM. Thank you for joining us today. For those of you that are comfortable being on cameras, we welcome you to turn yours on. If not, not a problem. Um, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
I figured it out.
Holla. All right, so let's get started with
What?
Jess.
Hello. Thank you, ladies, so much for taking the time.
What do you mean?
Really appreciate it. I'm really excited to see the tournament this weekend. I just want to get your general thoughts on and feelings on this tournament, and what do you think it means for the gaming community as a whole?
I'll start this one off. I think the female tournament right now is really, really big step for the female scene. So for me personally, I came from CS, and I feel like most of us here on the team did. And in CS, whenever we had female tournaments, the turnout was kind of lackluster. There was only like 4 or 5 teams max, like all female teams in NA. So I think this is really, really interesting. A tournament like this really shows us that Valorant has a lot more potential than CS ever did. And I think Riot is really doing a lot for the female scene to grow. So I think this tournament pretty much just proves that the female scene is definitely there. We're all waiting. And I think that it just brought out a lot of the people that were hiding um, for females.
Anybody else want to add on? Or make sure your mics are working?
I missed the question. What was it? Sorry, I had to leave the meeting.
I can repeat it. I just wanted to know your general feelings on the tournament and what you think it means for the gaming community as a whole.
I think it's a huge step. It's one of like the biggest tournament I think in like the female scene, and I'm just so excited to see. Just in the qualifiers, there was 32 scenes, so the scene is definitely there. It's getting bigger, and I'm so excited for the future.
Awesome. Just a fun fact. We actually had a waiting list of multiple teams that couldn't get into the first qualifier. So we're looking for like the next one to be just as big.
Ooh,
Oh wow.
awesome. Yeah, I'm excited for sure.
Brandon, go ahead.
It's awesome that you guys are here. We appreciate taking the time to speak with us. My question is more based on the organization. It's TSM, one of the biggest organizations in the entire planet, across all the esports you can think of. How awesome does it feel to represent that brand going into this first Game Changers event?
I guess you
Yeah.
wanna say it for now?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where the other girls are. I think Emily wanted to answer this question, but I can definitely start off by saying that for me, TSM is actually, it's crazy to be under this org. I remember, I think 3, 4, 5 years ago when I'd be watching League of Legends, like the LCS, TSM was definitely one of the teams that I was really interested in, and one of the teams that I literally never in a million years thought I would play under. So it's kind of like a huge, huge thing. I feel like there's so many amazing players that have been part of TSM that TSM has pretty much made into celebrities or professional gamers or streamers or anything. Like there's just so many people that TSM helped build the brand of that it's just really exciting for me to be able to play under such an amazing org. Go
Anyone
next.
else? Yeah. Anyone else?
Emily, I know you're here. Let's go.
All right.
Wait, I actually, sorry. I think one of you should go, Emily or Zoe or Kath, anyone. You guys got this, I believe.
It's cool.
I can see you guys laughing. Emily, you gotta unmute your mic and talk. Let's do this. Let's go.
Come on, how is it to be on TSM, Emily?
She was so excited, dude.
These are easy. Press
Oh,
conferences are fun.
I
Yeah.
actually have a little anecdote to say.
Oh,
Are
Like
you guys
yeah.
when we were
talking?
trying, I mean,
Can
when
you?
we were trying out the girls,
Wait. Hold on.
Wait,
Can
you
someone
guys hear me?
message Emily and make sure
Yeah,
that she can
I'm
hear us?
fixing Emily's stuff right now.
Okay, so Kat, sorry, keep going.
Oh
Oh.
my God. Okay, I can hear you guys now.
Oh my god. That's funny.
Well, we've been
I was
trying to talk to you for a couple minutes, but it's okay. All right, go ahead, Kath.
Oh,
a little funny anecdote. When we were trying out the girls, we were trying out Emily, Zoe, and some other girls, and we finally settled our decision on Emily. And I think that moment I should have really recorded because when we announced it to her, it was one of the most like what's the word, like heartwarming thing. Her reaction was like the cutest. Like you could honestly feel the happiness through the screen and through like she was so happy. And I think like that's what TSM allowed us to do is just be together and compete and being able to be role models to upcoming females that also want to do this. So like players like Emily who are 16 are insane at the game. So I'm just so excited for the future. Yeah.
That's rad, Emily. I had no idea you were 16. So that is
yeah.
so cool. Jason, go ahead.
Thank you, and thank you for taking my question. First, real quick before I ask it, this is already the greatest press conference I've already been a part of. That was excellent. So, getting a great laugh over here, so thank you for that. So this is the first ever Game Changers tournament. Obviously, there's a lot of clout that would come with being the first ever champions of this new series. Does that thought ever enter your mind? You ever have a little extra pressure you put on yourselves, thinking, "Wow, if we're the first ones, no one can ever take that away from us"?
I think it's all about like keeping your head into the present moment. Like I think you, as a competitor, it's very unnecessary to just see further and think about the future and the repercussions of like winning a tournament, what it would do. And I think the best thing you could do is just think in the moment, match by match, whoever we compete against, keep your head in the game. Of course, like it would be amazing to win it. But we'll see. Like we'll go game by game and hopefully do really good in that tournament.
All right, Olivia.
Hello. I guess I'm wondering, obviously, this tournament is really exciting and definitely a good step for women in gaming. But what do you guys think of what it would take to have more women compete in, quote, traditional tournaments? And what do you think it would take to get there? And what would that mean for you guys?
I think I can answer this one. I think the first step would be first off to make gaming and esports as a whole more accessible, especially money-wise. I feel like right now, getting to esports is very hard for most just because it's very expensive. So things like giveaways of PCs, things like LAN centers like Philadelphia, they have a center where people can play for just a few bucks and they can have access to high-end PCs to be able to compete on the same level as everybody else who's as richer than them. I think that's fantastic. That's great. And we should work more towards that to help people that don't necessarily have the means to afford like the high-end equipment you need, like high AG monitors or expensive computers. And I think that's the main problem. That's the main thing, like stopping people from it. It's a lot of money that you have to invest to be able to compete at the highest level.
Yeah, I just want to add on to that as well. I think one of the biggest things that actually a lot of people think is that females aren't as good or females don't play enough in order to be part of one of the tier one teams, mixed teams, male teams, whatever you guys want to call them. And people tend to forget that the female scene was actually kind of put down a lot. And females didn't really have the option to play in the tier one tournaments. The only reason not being because of skill level, not being because of any of that, but mainly being that girls didn't really get chances to play and compete without really getting, the comments, the sly comments, the sexist comments, the misogyny, stuff like that. And I feel like a tournament like this is a huge tournament that allows all the skill levels of all the girls to be seen. And that's really important because like players like us, we know we can compete at the highest level, and it just pretty much gives us the grounds in order for us to be able to do that. Like already we've scrimmed some of the higher tier 2 teams, which are obviously like mainly male teams. It's a male dominated field. So like having kind of TSM, the name, as well as the tournament coming up, and as well as like all these other females that are competing at higher and higher levels, it's just pretty much been opened up. Like that opportunity has been opened up for us to compete at the highest levels. And I think that female tournaments are really starting to prove that these people can play like at higher levels pretty much.
And just to add on to that a little bit is uh, I think the main goal for female tournaments is just about showing other people, younger females, that yeah, there is females that are competing at the game and that are able to be successful, but the main goal is to reduce the gap between the numbers of guys playing the game and girls playing the game, because I don't think we've discovered like the Sidney Crosby of esports yet in the females. So that's the main goal, to reduce that gap.
Hell yeah, another hockey fan. Sorry, I'm a huge hockey fan. All right, Jess, let's go back to you.
Nerd. You guys are one of the few teams that have a coach. What kind of advantage do you think that's going to give you in this tournament?
Wait, can you ask the question again?
Sure. You guys are one of the few teams in the tournament that has a coach. Do you guys think that it's going to give you an advantage in this tournament?
I can answer. I think it saves us a lot of time, especially having a coach that records VODs for us and that like marks which times where there's something we should look over and why we should look over it and what we could do better. That helps a lot time-wise, because otherwise we'd be stuck watching the entire VOD ourselves, and that's double the amount of time, because you play a game, you watch the entire thing, and the coach helps just target each round that was important, like to work on. So I think it saves us time mostly, and it's going to be a big advantage for us because obviously as a trial I haven't played with the rest of the roster for a long time now, so the coach is helping me a lot in integrating into the rest of the team, because otherwise learning the strats together, it would be pretty hard without him. So he helps a lot.
I'd like to add on to that too. Our coach is a huge benefit for us, solely because it's like a second set of view, or another perspective rather. So individually, we can go over stuff that we want to improve upon, and stuff as a team as a whole, and that's going to help us, I guess, quicker, or rather, work on stuff that traditionally people who, or rather teams that don't have a coach, will have to spend more time on and may not have that extra set of eyes to help them, guide their way to that solution kind of deal.
Yeah, I just wanted to also add on that. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just wanted to mention that having a coach is definitely an advantage because of everything that the girls have said so far. But I also think the advantage isn't as big as people might see. Only because in the female scene, a lot of these teams don't have VODs and don't have demos of their games. So we can only really watch what we know or what we can get to see. So for example, for us, obviously one of our biggest competitors in this tournament is C9. So we've tried to watch VODs, but even that, it's kind of hard to come across. So having a coach is really more like on the spot adapting, playstyle adapting, and making sure we're all pretty much doing our jobs as our roles in game. And I think that's where the real advantage is. I would love to see a system where we can get those VODs or get those demos. Riot, if you're listening, please let us watch demos. But other than that, I think it's a pretty good advantage. It's definitely more on the mental side. It makes us feel a lot better too, because we have that understanding of knowing that, okay, that he's watching me. He knows that I made this mistake, or he knows that the reason why this happened is because of something else. Like it's a really good mental affirmation. I think that's the biggest thing about having a coach.
All right, Brandon.
Okay, so speaking of Cloud9, they were the team that sent you to the lower bracket, but you still managed to qualify there. We see a lot of talk of rivalries and getting revenge and everything, and the men's side, so to speak. Do you want there to be a rivalry storyline between you guys, C9, any other team possibly? Would you think that would be fun? Would be awesome? What kind of what are your thoughts on getting that revenge against them when the main event starts this weekend?
I think so, but to an extent. Rivalry is always fun, obviously, for the spectator side, but only to an extent, just because we're trying to set a positive example in the scene, and we're trying to like suppress toxicity as much as we can, unless it's for entertainment, that is. So yes, but to an extent, we're not gonna go too far and start saying mean things.
Yeah, I think it'd actually be beneficial for everyone um to have the kind of like rivalry kind of headline going on, only because when you think about like LCS and stuff, like everyone had that El Clasico kind of game in CS and LCS, like everything. And I think it'd definitely be cool to see that, the two biggest orgs in this scene right now are going to have a rivalry. Um, Only because it does bring a lot more hype to the female scene and a lot more hype to the female tournament. So I think definitely like I for sure wouldn't mind. They are one of the first female teams to actually get signed like pretty much ever to such a big org. So it'd be pretty sick for us to kind of take that title away from them and let them know that like, hey, we're here to play too. Just because you're first doesn't mean we can't be you.
Especially with 2 weeks of practice with
Yeah.
a last minute sub. That would be a big headline story for sure.
Awesome. Reporters, any more questions? Jess, go ahead.
I've always got questions. So y'all made a really good point about how there are no VODs for you to review. There's really no way for you to prepare against, another team like that. So what do you do to prepare for a tournament like this?
Emily.
Emily,
let
yeah.
Emily she said she wanted to talk.
Yeah. Honestly, try and like I feel like we do a lot of server time to come up with our own kind of strategies. But even then, you can't really prepare for like anything they could do because you have no idea what they could do. So I feel like it's all about the mid-round decisions and trying to, so like if they make an aggressive play, trying to counter that. And yeah, it's pretty much all mid-round. You can't really prepare if you don't know where you're going into.
Yeah, I think just to build up on that, sorry, Kath, I know you're about to go in. I saw that face. I think just to build up on that, like I 100% agree with Emily. Like we've been working on our adaptive play style and we've been working on mid-round calling and kind of finding our voices in game. And I think that's pretty much the only way that we can really prepare because we just have to be ready. Like we don't even know what lineups they're gonna do for the most part. We don't know what like agents they're gonna pick. They might hit us with a wild card that we don't know. So the best thing we can do is just pretty much just prepare for the unexpected the entire time. Scrim a wide range of teams with a wide range of different strats and a wide range of whatever, and just hope that our mid-round calls kind of save us and save our asses there.
Just to add on a little bit on that, the game is also so new, and Riot just released a new agent that we're going to be able to play in a tournament, Astra. So we are still like in the process of figuring out how to counter her, and That's what's so nice about this game is that I have like some previous experience in CS:GO, and it's like directly translatable into this game. Like the mid-round experience really translates well into this game. But when it comes to like ability usage and when to use it, or what can you do to counter like certain agents, it's like so hard. Well, not so hard, but it's like very new, and any team can come up with anything right now. So that's what makes this game so spicy, I feel like.
Spicy, I like that.
Awesome. One last question before I let you guys go. For those of you that have CS experience or in any other game, why Valorant? Why make the move over to this game?
Oh, this game is like a shiny new toy. It's so exciting. It's so motivating. I feel like in CS:GO, I was so tired of playing Mirage and Dust 2 over and over again. Like I've played those maps for like 15 years plus. So coming into Valorant is just a breath of fresh air. Like um it just feels great. I don't know, like you still have the same gameplay, playing with your teammates, calming, like that whole aspect I still liked in CS:GO, and it's directly translated into Valorant. But right now, like there's just new strategies, there's new layers to the game. Like it's just new. It's I don't know how to describe it other than that. It's just fun, and I hope like more people realize that from the CS:GO scene and transfer into Valorant because they're missing out for sure.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think that so I came from CS too, so the meta in CS is pretty much set. Like the game pretty much comes down to who can be the most creative with a limited amount of options, or who can pretty much just default better and get map control better. And I feel like it's become super repetitive, and it's been around for so long, and they haven't, like, CS:GO and Valve really haven't done much for the female scene in the few years that I've been playing CS. Like I've been playing CS for a long time. And I mean, as soon as I switched over to Valorant, and there was already like female tournaments being run during beta. So obviously right away I was like, holy, there's like a lot of girls playing this game, and girls from Overwatch and girls from Apex and everything. They're all switching over to Valorant. And I feel like Valorant is kind of becoming the FPS hub for females to actually all be able to play and play together. And kind of the balance that Kath was talking about earlier, the balance between like men and women gamers, like that balance is definitely getting smaller when it comes to Valorant. And that's pretty much why I switched, is like just the warm welcome that we got, as well as the fact that there's a lot more competition and esports opportunities that CS never had.
Great answers. Thank you so much again, TSM, for joining us. We wish you all the best of luck this weekend, and we hope to see you at our winners press conference on Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
us.
Thank you.
Thank you
Bye.
for having us.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you
See
very
you,
much.
winners.
Good luck.
Thank you.